The James Webb Space Telescope, which is meant to replace the well-known Hubble Space Telescope, is also raising the bar for how excited scientists are about their work. The James Webb Space Telescope is looking into space to learn more about galaxies, planets, and other objects in the sky. The JWST is a first-of-its-kind piece of scientific equipment that has made some amazing discoveries about galaxy, planets, and stars. This Deep Space Observatory telescope gives us a new look at the universe. Find out what scary things the James Webb Space Telescope has discovered in space and what scientific advances it has made. Webb showed off its first amazing photos in the middle of July the year before. We will be able to see almost everything in the universe, including the Father's galaxies, with the help of the infrared telescope. The fact that the two stars in question were part of a binary orbital system and were pretty close to each other made this situation much more worrying. The two stars in question were part of a binary system, with two orbiting stars that were close to each other. If there had been another cloud of dust between the stars, both stars would have seemed to disappear at the same time or almost at the same time. Instead, they met for a few minutes and then again 8 hours later. After going through millions of pictures taken by the Hubble telescope, scientists were able to find two more stars that had died between 1995 and 2002. These stars were all found in the same stellar neighborhood and were only a few light years away from each other. Scientists can only assume that these stars were being covered up or destroyed by an unknown force moving close to the speed of light. Hubble doesn't have the ability to give us any more information, though. Just a few days after the telescope went online in late July 2022, scientists found thousands of new galaxies that were older and further away than any others found before. These galaxies were formed more than 150 million years before Arby's old roast beef sandwich. When the researchers pointed the telescope at the binary system that had disappeared in 2007, there was eventually enough ambient EM spectrum radiation left to try a mass spectrometer reading. If you don't already know, this was the closest place where this event hadn't been seen before. By looking at the patterns of light wavelengths that an object emits or reflects, mass spectrometry is a very helpful technique that tells us a lot of useful things about it, like its temperature, speed, direction of motion, and chemical makeup. But the readings they got from the double stars didn't make sense. They were very cold to start with, almost as cold as the space between the stars. These stars had either gone out for good or were in the process of going out for good. People thought that such a big structure couldn't have formed naturally, because most of its parts were made of chemicals we didn't know the names for. Because of this, most people thought that something like this couldn't possibly span more than one star system. The question is why this object was found and what it is being made for. As early as the 20th century, people thought that this idea would be good for intergalactic civilization. Since then, the idea has been in a number of science fiction stories. In fact, it is one of the earliest signs we might find of intelligent life on other planets. First of all, the stars were covering the sky at an impossible rate. Even the most outlandish scientific and science fiction theories couldn't have predicted that a Dyson shell could be built from scratch in a couple of minutes. Then, there were the mysterious filaments that connected the shells over a light-year distance. No one knew how these could be made or what they might be used for. On the other hand, one of the most famous views from the Hubble Space Telescope was of the nebula. In the 1990s, astronomers found the first planets outside of our Sun. As of now, it is known that there are more than 3,000 planets outside of our solar system. However, only about a dozen of these planets have been seen directly. Most planets outside of our solar system are so far away that we can only see them when they pass in front of their host stars and make them dim. This is an important time for astronomy in general and for Webb in particular. In 2017, the planet was found, and its name is HIP 65426b. The fact that the Webb telescope took its first straight picture of an exoplanet in September of last year may change. This planet is the furthest from its star of any planet in our solar system. The distance between it and its star is 100 times further than the distance between our Sun and the Earth. Pluto, on the other hand, is 40 times farther from the Sun than Earth, and it is a huge gas giant that is about 12 times as big as Jupiter. Scientists use telescopes, coronagraphs, web cameras, a number of filters and other tools to learn about this planet. In addition to being very easy to see through a telescope, the planet has a lot of other features that make it easier to find. The beautiful picture you're looking at was made by putting together Webb photos and images from the Space Telescope. The result is a composite that shows how galaxies look in both visible light and infrared light. The composite image was made with the help of ESA experts as part of the International FANGS project. This project uses the Hubble Webb and many ground-based telescopes to take infrared photos of 19 neighboring star-making galaxies. In the middle of December the year before, researchers announced that they had been able to do so. Before galaxies that have been formally observed by the telescopes are also the oldest, Webb spotted the images when they first appeared 13.4 billion years ago, when the universe was only 350 million years old, or about 2% of its current age. Webb was made so that it could see galaxies and the rest of the universe. As part of the JWST Advanced Extragalactic Survey JADES, researchers used information from the telescope's near-infrared spectrograph to find out how fast the galaxies were moving away from it. This helped them figure out how old the galaxies were. Researchers thought that the 4 galaxies were very old, just like the hundreds of other galaxies they had found on the Webb. The redshift of galaxies is a measurement of how the expansion of the universe causes light waves to stretch. The highest redshift ever measured for galaxies was 13.2. There are a lot more of these galaxies than anything we could have expected to find before the JWST. With the JWST, we can now find galaxies that are so far away and then use spectroscopy to prove that they really are galaxies. Most of the time, a planet that isn't in our solar system but is still interesting is one that is currently going around a star in a constellation. The name of the planet is 39b, and it's 700 light-years from Earth. It is a boiling gas giant about the size of Saturn that revolves around its host star at a distance about 8 times closer than Mercury is to the Sun. Virgo is grateful to the Webb WASP for letting us know about this project. Saturn is 8 times closer to its Sun than Mercury, and most of the clouds in its thick atmosphere are made of sulfur, silicate, and sulfur dioxide. Saturn goes close to the star that gives it life. Carbon dioxide has never been found in the atmosphere of an exoplanet. Researchers found out about the planet's history and where it came from by looking at its atmosphere. Scientists think that the planet formed far from its star, because smaller planetesimals crashed into each other and because the planet's atmosphere has more oxygen than carbon. The first atmosphere spectrum of an exoplanet was released by JWST. The first pictures and information about planet WASP 96b were made public. This spectrum is a barcode for the wavelengths of light that Webb spectrographs can pick up from the planet's atmosphere. When the planet's star passed in front of it and was seen through its atmosphere, the spectrum showed water vapor clouds in the sky. This is surprising because astronomers thought that the planet's sodium signal in its atmosphere meant that its skies were very clear. Researchers think that the planet's sodium signal in the atmosphere shows that the skies are unusually clean because the results don't match up. Thanks for watching this video. See you soon.